All right, welcome here to the Truth in Sports. I'm going to give you a little more knowledge this week about what took place in week 2 in the NFL. Right now, I'm dressed a little bit different. I got to actually work some today, get out and about and meet the people. But I'm going to talk about the top 10 teams that I had in the top 10 last week. If you look at my blog at the Truth in Sports by mrj.com, you will see my top 10 where I had the reigning Super Bowl champs, Pittsburgh at number 1. I had the Giants at number 2. I had my Titans at number 3. And I may not have had these in this particular order, but I had the Ravens. I had San Diego. I had New England, Indy, Minnesota, and the Saints. I think those are the top 10. And the bottom order, the last 5, are not in any particular order, but I'm going to touch base on each one of these teams and what I got from them this week, starting with Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, they look beatable, man. What can we say? I mean, they went to Chicago. That's a tough place to play. But they look beatable. They weren't really that impressive this week. So now, what I'm going to do is, before the end of the week, is come out with a new top 10. Because you do learn things as the week goes on. Jay Cutler played within himself, took care of the ball, didn't do anything real crazy with it. Pittsburgh still didn't get a lot from the running game, and Big Ben wasn't necessarily spectacular. It was kind of a ho-hum game. So Pittsburgh, I don't know if they'll retain that top spot once I get into the week and about Thursday and look at where we should rank these teams now. Now, looking at the Giants, they went down to Dallas, spoiled a big party for Jerry Jones, which I think the Giants are a good team. They didn't particularly play that well. Now, look at this. They didn't really play that great, but they still won the game. That's the sign of a good team. Now, you may see the Giants in my number 1 spot next week because they are 2-0. They beat 2 division rivals in both games. And even though they didn't play spectacular, they didn't do anything great. The running game wasn't that wonderful, and they came away with a bunch of field goals, which should have been touchdowns. This team may be scary once they get everything together. And I'll tell you what, too, that I like about that team as well, is that those young receivers, man. The Steve Smith up there, he's looking at the Steve Smith in Carolina. I mean, he's catching everything and getting open. He doesn't have that blazing speed, but the man can catch the ball, and he finds a way to get open. In Manningham, what do you think about this guy, man? The Michigan guy. This guy's playing some ball. So, tell you what, man, the Giants, they may be the team to beat when it's all said and done. Get to the next team was the Tennessee Titans. The Titans, those are my boys. Man, Houston, they always play us tight, but I never would have imagined Houston beating us in Tennessee, and our running back, Chris Johnson, having almost 200 yards rushing and almost 100 yards receiving, almost 300 yards of total offense from scrimmage, which is crazy. And we still somehow lose the game. Now, my question on this is, we shut down the run. They only had about 60 yards rushing, which we've done in both games. But somehow our pass defense has to get better. Defensively, only having 4, we have to scrap that. We need pressure. We got to send 5 or 6. You can't let quarterbacks just stay back there and have a field day and pick us apart. Hopefully they'll make those adjustments and we'll be okay, because 0-2 is not a good place to be. So there will be some movement on my Titans. They will not hold that 3 spot. I can guarantee you that. And now, looking at San Diego, another team that they played fairly well. I can't say too much about them. They just ran up against a team which is better than what I had them listed as. Baltimore, they're really a contender, man. They're playing offensive ball. And when Baltimore, and everyone has always said it, if they ever get an offense, as long as they have Ray Lewis in that defense, they will be a dangerous team. So look for Baltimore to climb up in the rankings this week. And San Diego, they're still solid. They're still going to be a team to contend with in the AFC. But they couldn't quite pull that one out. But Baltimore is just better than I think a lot of us even imagine. Now, the other team that I want to touch on right here is got Baltimore. We got the two teams that played each other. I'm going to talk about the Patriots for a minute. Everybody's sheep pick. Brady's back. The Patriots going to be great. They're going to do great things. Nah, I don't look for the Patriots to really do that much this year. I think I've already told you they're going to go 10-6. I think they might squeak into the playoffs. I really believe the Jets will win that division. The Jets, man, they are another up-and-coming team. They're not in my top 10 from last week, but look for them to be in there this week when I put this top 10 out on Thursday. But New England, they're suspect, man. Their defense is not what it should be. And offensively, Brady, man, if you get pressure on him, it's showing. I mean, it's starting to show. If you can get Brady to move, to the side, out of the pocket, he's not as effective. So I think people are figuring out how to get to Tom Brady, and I don't expect the Patriots really to do that much this year. He's still a good quarterback. They'll still get 10 wins, but all the Super Bowl talk and everything else from the talking heads, no, I don't see that at all. Now, on to the next team, which is the New Orleans Saints and Philly. The two of the teams that were in the top 10 played each other. Man, I tell you, I missed on this one because I thought Philly's defense would be good enough to at least slow New Orleans down enough for them to get that win at home. But tell you what, man, New Orleans, they're going to be taking a climb because I think I have them at number 10 right now. They're going to take a climb in these rankings because they are for real. If they can hold teams to 20 points, man, they might go 13-3. That offense is just so dynamic, and Drew Brees is playing at a level where people say he can't play at this level the whole year, but this is his level. The man has proven this is how he plays the game. You give him the weapons in the system, and this guy, he can put those numbers up. So I look for New Orleans to climb in the rankings, and look for them to continue to do good things. They're going to be a monster in the NFC. They're going to be a team to deal with, and they have to deal with. Philly, on the other hand, they got to get McNabb back. Even though you might say, well, McNabb doesn't play defense, but he means so much to that team that without him in there, they have a hard time. So he has to get back in that lineup or get Vic in there or something, because they need that. They can't afford to drop too many games, because now the Giants, they're 2-0, and they're not looking back. And now the other team that's left out of the top 10 is the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota started off slow against Detroit. It looked like Detroit may get their first win in 18 games, but no, it didn't happen. Adrian Peterson does what Adrian Peterson do. He ran the ball, scored. Brett looked pretty well. So Minnesota right now, they haven't really been tested. So I don't know where they'll be in the top 10, but they won't up their ranking any. Because what I like to see, even though they're 2-0, is see them come out and really dominate from beginning to end. And also they're going to have to play somebody. Now, look, that's the top 10 for this week. Kind of a recap of what happened. Some of the other games that went on. There's some up-and-coming teams out there. We'll talk about them a little bit, too, that's not in the top 10. But there you have it, the top 10 from week 2 in the NFL. And I did leave out Indy. I'm sorry. Indy took care of business, did what they had to do. The Wildcat gave them a lot of problems. But, hey, they're used to winning. And one of the things I'll say about Indy this year, it's going to be one of those years where they're going to have to grind it out. It's not going to be easy for them, but as long as they have Peyton Manning, I'm not a big Peyton Manning, kind of, but I respect the guy's talent, man. And as long as they got him, they'll be in the playoffs, and they'll be a team to contend with. So until next time, I'm out, just giving you the truth in sports.